And now for our feature presentation.
Hey YouTube, Hey YouTube, what's going on? Mark here. Happy Sunday to all. And Emily just got through with her third ever visit to Sandy Ridge, and I think Daytona, Bristol, MIS, her fourth ever NASCAR race at the Sirius satellite radio at the Glen. It was an all right race. It was meh, but at the same time, it was okay, not terrible, but it wasn't good either. But at the same time, the bright side, the one positive besides the fact that it was not too bad, it was not a big mess either. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, that Xfinity race yesterday and the Craftsman truck race the day before just proved how dangerous Watkins Glen can be, especially after yesterday. Michael McDowell was getting PTSD from 2014 when he wrecked viciously at almost the same rate in the exact same spot of the track. But I love RCR to death, but Austin Hill, you're a fucking idiot. I know it wasn't intentional, but you would think you would have learned your goddamn lesson by now after what you did in Indianapolis, trying to murder Almirola at 160 some miles an hour. Yeah, and RC can't defend him on this one because it didn't work 2 weeks ago when that happened, and it didn't work for my boy AD3 at the Chevrolet Monte Carlo 400 at Richmond last year, which is ironically the next race that the Winston Cup Series is going to next weekend with the Craftsman Truck Series, and Busch Grand National is off next week until the Firecracker 250 at Daytona. God help us all. But anyway, let's get to this race review. And before I go into the Winston Cup race, the Sirius at the Glen, I gotta say, the Craftsman truck race was a hot mess too, considering, how much crazy shit has to happen in one weekend, for the Cup guys to say, let us take care of this even if the race is a little bit of a semi-stinker. Well, we all know what happened with Connor Zillage on Saturday. That was horrible. I'm not even going to show that here because that looked fucking gruesome. I hope he's doing a lot better today after, he had to withdraw his Winston Cup 87 Trackhouse Chevrolet from the field. With Trackhouse, Nemechek, this dude's dad's old number, Nemechek's old number, Front Row Joe's old number. Oh my God, what was I saying? Yeah, hopefully Zillage is doing all right, and considering how much of a big mess yesterday was, but when we were at the Corn Fest, yeah, all this shit happened. That happened yesterday was while I was at the Corn Fest with all my friends and whatnot, and the shit the day before when I had to stay in the house since all my Sandy Ridge army was at the Corn Fest Friday night for part 1 of the banger. Dear Lord, was that a Demo Derby Shitshow too? Considering my boy Hemrick had a chance to steal it, but he fucking sold, trying to get around Corey Heim, who, even as a Riley Herbst fan, guess what? And a little bit of a 2311 fan because of it. He should be up in the Winston Cup Series by now, if not the Busch Grand National Series. Only reason why he's not there, probably because of what Elite Precision said, is because Ty Gibbs asked his grandfather Joe to not put Heim in one of his Busch Series cars for the team because Grandpa's boy is still salty about what happened in 2020 and 2021 when they were working up through the ranks in ARCA. I mean, this guy is going to become one of those truck series legends, something that bitch boy Ben Rhodes, that fake Jeff Burton and fake Jeff Burton that knows nothing about. At least Corey Heim has more of the potential to become the next, truck series great. Unlike, fake Jeff Burton in the 99, bitch boy Ben Rhodes, Todd Bodine, Mike Skinner, Johnny Benson, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, Matt. I could throw Matt Crafton in there, even though this dude has overstayed his welcome, considering, Crafton now is basically what, Richard Petty 1992, Darrell Waltrip 99 2000, or Jimmy Johnson 2018 to 2020, or even Kyle Busch 2021 to now, a shell of them former self. That's what Matt Crafton is now. So I think Corey Haim is taking his place as the next, truck series, great truck series regular. So therefore, yeah, but eventually it's only a matter of time before a Winston Cup team or Busch Grand National calls them up to have them drive one of their cars for like a full-time campaign in the future. And there was something else I was going to say too. Oh yeah, that this bullshit that Austin Hill pulled yesterday, even if it was unintentional, which obviously doesn't matter if it's intentional or not, and the Indianapolis bullshit is probably why not many Winston Cup teams have called him for like an opportunity, even if it's part-time, except for the team that he normally drives for in Winston Cup. I mean, not Winston Cup. No, don't know. Fuck no. Well, on a part-time basis in a 33 at third choice car, yeah, but other than that, this reckless abandonment he's got is probably why not, outside of RCR, his own team that is like by his side at all times, even when the fanboy cap should come off as a car owner. He hasn't got too many Winston Cup calls from like a specific, like very many teams, except for I think Beard Motorsports, but that's pretty much it, because I know Winston Cup team wants that son of a bitch in that son of a bitch in his car, in their cars, because all he'll do is tear shit up or deliberately wreck people, whether it's intentional or not. So that guy, kamikaze games, let's just say my homeboy Riley is a ticking time bomb, and kamikaze games, tirades against my favorite drivers like the Dylans, Gregson, Herbst, that has never fazed me, because he's just a kamikaze. He's just a really cool guy, let alone funny NASCAR YouTuber to follow. I know a lot of people don't find him funny, but I do. So therefore, that's why he's just a cool ass dude. And if you get to know him in real life, even though he does look intimidating in his YouTube videos, even though it's always the intimidating looking people who are nice, like Kamikaze, What If. But, other people too, but this is a NASCAR video, so I'm only going to introduce people related to NASCAR. The NASCAR officials that you see on TV, they look intimidating, but in real life, once you get to know them, or if you get to know them like in Facebook Message or Instagram DMs, they're really cool. But it's also always the nice looking people who are actually intimidating. What is this ass backwards bullshit? But, I can see why Kamikaze doesn't like those dudes who I root for, but you want to think, Riley Herbst is that you would think. Do you think Riley Herbst is a ticking time bomb? Well, maybe some people who maybe believe other drivers are ticking time bombs never heard of Austin Hill. So, and that dude is, even before he moved up to Xfinity in the whatchamacallit, in Richard Childress race equipment, even when he was in the truck series for Torrey, that dude has always rubbed me the wrong way. There was something that about him I didn't like, and I see why a lot of people, myself included, don't like him. So therefore, yeah, but that's the real ticking time bomb, more than Riley Herbst ever been a ticking time bomb. At least Riley Herbst turned his, Xfinity career around before getting put in the third 2311 car. But yeah, that's just my takeaways of what happened, yesterday and today. And, thankfully, yet today was basically clean and green, although it could have been a hell of a lot better. So let's talk about it. So I'm doing this video a little differently than I normally do. So therefore, isn't it funny how two of the races I invited Emily over this year, today at Watkins Glen for her birthday race, and Bristol, I was looking forward to, and let's get this way. I invited her for 4 races this year. 2 of them actually turned out to be good shows, while 2 of them, which were the 2 we were looking forward to the most, because the Daytona and MIS were actually the ones that were good. Considering, the Daytona 500 to me was a hell of a lot better than whatever the fuck the Aaron's 499 at Talladega was. I'm hoping the Pepsi 400 can be almost exactly like a carbon copy of this year's Daytona 500 in 2 weeks. But the other 2 races I invited over for, Bristol, Watkins Glen. Bristol back in April, and Watkins Glen today we were looking forward to. We even had Susie V join us, and both races turned out to be stinkers. I mean, Watkins Glen was a little better than Bristol. But either way, the Gen 7 fucking sucks. I mean, I'm glad the road course package is getting a little better at some road courses. Where some road courses, they're trying to finally figure it out. But other road courses like Watkins Glen, it still needs some serious work. I mean, last year's Watkins Glen was only interesting because it was in the chase for the cup, the championship implications, the chase implications, and people forgot how to fucking drive at the end of the race last year when it was in the middle of the chase and during season 4 of Adventures in Autumn, I think. Yeah. But, I mean, you could have a good race as long as it doesn't turn into Demo Derby stupidity. Sure, it wasn't Demo Derby stupidity like yesterday and the day before, but guess what? This was also that was not that good of a racing product. It was like average. It wasn't too terrible, but it wasn't that good either. Let alone it was nowhere near great. It was not even that. It was not even that good. I would say it's like 2024 Pontiac Excitement 400 at Richmond on Easter Sunday levels of average. Not too terrible, but not real all that good either. It was like 50-50, but the bigger half goes to not that great, not that good. So therefore, I mean, they could do better than this shit. I mean, at least they remembered how to drive this year compared to last year's race and you know, yesterday and the day before. I mean, this was like one of the ugliest NASCAR race weekends I've ever seen in a long time. At least today decided to like clean it, help us, clean it. Help at least today's race, help this weekend clean itself up. After all the ugly racing I wouldn't say just ugly racing, but the dangerous racing we saw yesterday and today. I mean, yesterday and the day before. So therefore, I didn't know how dangerous Watkins Glen could be until yesterday and the day before. It was even dangerous in the victory lane. And I know there's a lot of people that said it was karma for Zillage for him to fall and get nasty spill in the victory lane like that. Because considering those same people were upset that he took out SVG. All I can say is to those race fans, I'm beginning. You were upset that SVG was taken out of a potential road course victory, like an easy, piece of cake win. But that's nothing you ever should say about anyone, even if they're your favorite driver or someone you like. Like, there's better ways to handle that, and there are better things to say than just say you getting injured in victory lane is karma for taking out my favorite driver or the fan favorite to win the race. I mean, that's just as disgusting or sickening as, wishing for someone to get injured. But prayers up for Connor Zillage and that, he can have a speedy recovery. And, a broken collarbone probably, it said for him, he's probably going to sit out 8-12 weeks. I don't know what the fuck is going on with all these injuries. Oh, in the Craftsman Truck and Busch Grand National Series, away from the series or off the track. We had Stuart Friesen get hurt in that modify, which eventually he could be done for the season, which is why Caden Honeycutt's going to be in his car for the rest of the season after being released by those scumbags at Nice Motorsports right before the chase. Considering Nice Motorsports has had a history of being scumbags and firing drivers right before the time of the season where it matters most, like right before the chase and stuff, or like midway through the season when a driver they have is doing well. So with Caden Honeycutt replacing Stuart Friesen, then who's going to be in the 45? And at least the Stuart Friesen's truck is to still be in the chase. So does Caden Honeycutt. But then when whoever replaces Caden Honeycutt in the Nice 45, then whoever replaces them, or is the car still going to be eligible for the chase? And if they get a replacement driver, I don't know if they're going to get a driver that's already in the chase for the truck series or someone who's not in the chase, but they're going to have to withdraw their chase berth or something. Like, I know the 52 trucks got their shit figured out, but that 45 truck better figure its shit out in a heartbeat because, man, this was just been a crazy last 2-3 weeks of racing between the Austin Hill bullshit yesterday and a couple weeks ago at Indy. Connor Zillage falling off his car victory lane in the Busch Grand National race after the Zippo 200. Let me see here. Stuart Friesen getting injured. Like, I think the week they went to Indianapolis, like, The sport of NASCAR never ceases to amaze me. But, SVG, it was no surprise that SVG had the car to beat. I know Ryan Blaney and a few others had him beat at his own game, but it was only a matter of time before SVG and Dale Jarrett's old number took the chance to, they'll come in clutch and, pounce when it mattered most and score the victory and kick that rugby ball into the stands a hell of a lot better than he did at Sears Point the weekend of Brook Park home days when he completely missed the grandstand. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. As much as average as the race was, I only enjoyed it a little slightly than I really should have compared if I was watching it by myself or if it was just me and Emily, because I had two people watching it with me, so it kind of made it less stressful for me. I was expecting more crazy and scary shit to happen today, has the cherry on top after the crazy, scary shit that happened. It's that crazy, that scary shit that happened yesterday and the day before, but it's the next gen. Don't get your hopes up when it comes to stuff like that. Just because the Craftsman Truck Series and the Busch Grand National Series has crazy shit, scary shit happen in one weekend, then I should not be promoting or condoning scary shit, but, sometimes that's what trends do. Just because the Craftsman Truck Series and the Busch Grand National Series has a trend of similar events occurring in one weekend, don't expect the Winston Cup Series to continue that trend as long as they have the Gen 7 and they don't fix it. They don't step up and fix it. NASCAR doesn't step up, do a goddamn thing by fixing its flaws certain places and certain types of track types and certain venues they race at. But this car's not good. I'm sorry, but they need to do a lot of tweaking before they go to the Chevrolet Monte Carlo 400 next weekend and the Pepsi 400 the weekend after that. But anyway, this is a little bit of a different race review than normal. But anyway, congratulations to SVG on scoring. Let's see, Mexico, Chicago. What did he win? Chicago, Sears Point. For I think it was his fourth win, not his third win. Yeah, he won 4 road course races in a row. He won Sears Point. No, Chicagoland. Not Chicagoland. Oh, I'll have a video on that later in the future once I get the official word, whether the Tropicana 400 is coming back or not next year. So he won Mexico, Chicago Street Course, Sears Point, and now today at Watkins Glen. So if he can figure out how to consistently do well at ovals, then he should be a threat for the championship in the years to come. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night, and I will see you all for that next video, whenever that may be. And happiest of birthdays Tuesday to my wife, Emily Jean Harrington Oliveras, on come Tuesday for what will be her Jeff Gordon 24th birthday. See you later, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.